Stephen Goss. I'm the facilitator for today's Sunday. Every Sunday we have a different facilitator. And if facilitation sounds good to you and you're a New Thought member, why step right back up and we'll sign you up. The gifted speaker we have today, and we have a different speaker every Sunday, is Keli Semelsberger. I did good. And she's going to teach us how to let go, how to laugh a bit, how to use improv to make our lives even better. It should be a great program. I'll be introducing her a little later in the program. Fabulous music today was once again provided by Darby Partner. About the New Thought Center, it's been around for over 50 years. We started out as a Science of Mind church, and after a while, the minister left town, and we've been ministering to each other ever since. Yes, so we've been holding services continually since 1999, and we are affiliated with the New Thought Alliance, which is an umbrella organization which brings together groups like this all over the world. And the idea behind New Thought is a new thought embodied in consciousness produces a new condition. And New Thought also includes many unity and religious science churches and centers for spiritual living. Pretty soon it'll probably include improv clubs. So I'm going to do some improv here since my notes are all mixed up, but yeah, well, I'm not that lost. So today we're here because we want to become more aware. We help each other to become more conscious, more loving, and I'd like to add more sober, but not somber. So, and from the Course in Miracles, it says, is when you accept into the mirrors of our mind a positive reflection, that's a miracle. It's like you have to accept it into your mind first, and then you see it on the outside. And does anybody have any positive reflections that they have experienced lately they would like to share with the group? If so, come on up and use the microphone. Oh, cool. Yeah, come. Would you please?
Thank you, Stephen. Hey, everybody. My name is Rod. How's everybody? So I've never really been here, but this morning I went to have some alone time at the beach, and I'm sitting there and I'm just thinking about stuff, and I start getting these waves of inspiration about using comedy as and quantum physics in some kind of a comedy show. And I know, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, now I've been studying quantum physics for 40 years on my own, blah, blah, blah. Point is, this morning I'm standing at the beach and I start getting these, just a funnel of ideas. And I'm thinking, I never write this stuff down. You ever have a dream and you're like, oh, I should write this down, right? And you don't, and it goes away. So I start recording what's coming into my head. And this guy who was one of yours brother, Mika, he walks up and he hears me recording. And he tells me about this place. And we have a little dialogue, but he walks away, right? Because he didn't want to smoke in your house. He's a good guy. And so he tells me about this place. And so I look it up after he leaves, and I hear about her. And she's using comedy to help people with what I was getting direct, I'm calling it automatic writing, but I was speaking. So that's my story. And with no further ado, I can't wait. And I'm glad to see all of you folks here. Much aloha to all of you. What she's going to talk about, I'm telling you, for me to be here, ... I know, right?
Thanks, Rod.
Read what's on their website about her. That's what was coming to me. So anyway, I'm glad to see you folks here. I'm glad you made it.
That's also perfect. A real miracle or just an outstanding coincidence. But we don't believe in coincidences. Everything that happens. Does anybody else have anything? Well, okay, I have a small one. I'm feeling much better again already. I have this mysterious aches and pains going all over, but now they're gone again. So it's like I think it's like keeping the positive attitude. So it's a miracle. Darby, could you play some more music?
If you do know, it'll be one of your faves. It's a Hawaiian song, and then it also brings in the English. It's called E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama Pono I Ka Heao. Hey. E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama Pono I Ka Heao. Hey. E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama Pono I Ka Heao. Hey. E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama Pono I Ka Heao. Earth and sky, sea and soul, we hold this land in sacredness. Earth and sky, sea and soul, we hold this land in sacredness. Earth and sky, sea and soul, we hold this land in sacredness. E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama Pono I Ka Heao. E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama I Ka Heao. E Malama Pono I Ka Heao. Imalamai Kyle, Imalamai Kyle, Imalama Panoi Kyle, earth and sky, sea and stone, we hold this land in sacredness, earth and sky, sea and stone, we hold this land in sacredness, earth and sky, sea and stone, we hold this land in sacredness. Imalamai Kyle, Imalamai Kyle, Imalama Panoi Kyle.
Thank you, Darby. That's so relaxing. Well, I get to introduce the speaker you've all been waiting to hear early, and she can go on as long as she wants. And if we have to close early, that's okay too. But there's probably games and things that we can do. Kelly's the author of a book called The Improv Shaman, and she'll be speaking to us about the transformative journey of divine play. Ever since I read her introduction, it's gotten me thinking about the connection between being conscious and spontaneous improv, just like how it's all an act, and it is a divine play. I just forgot that I'm playing most of the time, and pretty much so does everybody else, especially when you get serious and worried and have troubles. She's been doing improv for over 26 years. And in her book, she explains how it's very similar to many spiritual practices. In her book, The Improv Shaman, which, did you bring copies today?
No.
No. Okay. They'll probably be available in the near future, though. Or on
Thank you.
Amazon.
You're my hype man now.
It's about being vulnerable, being in the moment, and co-creating with whatever's happening. These are great skills to have for everyday life. The world we currently live in does not really teach us how to interact in that kind of manner. And that's why improv is becoming so vital all around the world. She uses it in training for corporations, helps them find their lost sense of play, games and warm-ups. She creates a space where everybody feels valued. And every time it always proves out to be fun. That's why it's considered a comedic art. However, it's not really about being funny so much as it's about being authentic. And when I get really authentic in improv, I won't need notes anymore. It's how to communicate and be in communion with one another in real time, which frequently produces laughter and a feeling of inspiration. And she's looking forward to sharing that wisdom with the New Thought Center. At some point, she hopes to come back and offer a play shop in the new year. She Kelly also owns the award-winning Charlotte Comedy Theater in Hilo, which is in its 21st year, and she's reopening it after COVID in 2023. She's also a Reiki master, a shamanistic practitioner, energy plant medicine practitioner, and she specializes in a form of team building she prefers to call tribe building. I like that. She's, if you want to be impressed, her recent clients include Lending Tree, Facebook, Meta, Novant Healthcare, FinTech, and many more. She always infuses spiritual lessons along with the fun of improv to make her workshops and classes inspiring. And she has also co-founded the Visual and Performing Arts Center of Charlotte and contributes to be an active board member. And she's been published many times in Energy Magazine, so I hope you're all duly impressed and spontaneously now can welcome Keli Semelsberger. Good to
Yay!
start.
I'm such a clapper. All right. Well, first of all, let me just say no pressure when Spirit shows up at the beach this morning and tells him to come here. So I'm just like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? Because I'm going to improvise pretty much anyway. Like I have notes here myself, whether I'm an improviser or not, because I tend to get really excited and go way off track. So, first of all, how's everybody doing today? Yeah, huh? Because this is about connection. Um, in improvisation, like it says, is most people think that it's about being funny or being on. We all have that uncle. You know what I mean? It's like dad jokes. Or that friend who will actually come up to me because I'm a comedian. And go, oh, I did the put that in your little show. I'm like, oh, okay, no, that's not going to happen. But improv is about, and this is why it's so important that we learn this as adults, and it's who I teach to the most. It is about being authentic. It's about letting go of control. It's about trusting, building trust with one another. It's not a solo act, say, as stand up is. We are actually so engaged with one another. I can't do what I do without other people. And for me to be able to go on stage in front of, it could be 10 people, could be 200, could be 2,000 people, and not know what I'm going to do, and know that that audience is going to throw things out and I'm going to have to adapt to whatever that is, and then amuse them because they paid me or somebody to be there, right? The only reason I can go into the world with confidence is because I have a team of other people that we were all trained together. And to me, improv training is just a social contract. Besides, obviously, we know how to do games or whatever. It's a social contract of how we walk in the world and how we treat each other and how we engage with one another. One of the difference in our social contract and what we've been living in for so long is that our social contract is about having each other's back above all else. And I mean, like, kind of like I'm ex-military, so kind of like the way we're supposed to leave no man behind, leave no one behind. But in the way that it's also, I have your back in, if you go and do something stupid, I will be right there with you doing something stupid right next to you. Which is different than you did something stupid, let's point at you and make you wrong. That's the difference in the world that we live in. We finger point, we make something wrong. When something goes off the rails, we have to make somebody or something wrong. Off the rails is a place of creation. Chaos is a space of creation. And from chaos comes life. Creation is messy. Go work in a garden. You're not coming out clean. But there is life happening. There's creation happening all the time. We want things to be tidy. We've been told and programmed things should be tidy, and we can just have board meetings, and we can have agendas, and we can tidy everything up, and we can have bullet points, and everything gets done, and we're all responsible, and everything will go just fine. And that is so far from the truth in any world, more or less the one we just came through for the last 2 years. And I'm so grateful that I have the skills of improvisation, that's kind of been my life, because when everything went off the rails, including closing my business down, I had to sell my family home, everything. I think I emotionally did a little bit better because I'm like, My mentality is if something goes off the rails, it was meant to be. There is no blame in that. It is what it is. Improv is about radical acceptance. I don't say it that way. We call it yes and. It's basically tricking people in a certain way. You're going to have a lot of fun, but you're still going to get all the benefits that you would from meditation and mindfulness and everything. It's the same path. It's just a different route to the same benefits. So when something goes off the rail as an improviser, I'm like, let's play with that. I get excited because it's my opportunity to be creative. And in spiritual practices where they say, well, for instance, you two can do this and more. We're all miracle people. We're all creators. So even in the more linear context of spirituality, when they say, oh, God lives within you, or that you are a creator and a reflection of God or universe, or whatever you want to call that, it's because we can create. We have so much energy to create. We were made to create. A lot of people say, well, I'm not creative at all. I'm like, oh, yes, you are. Just because you shouldn't sing on stage doesn't mean you shouldn't sing. Just because you can't keep beat doesn't mean you shouldn't dance. And the most important thing to know about creation is that every word you speak and the way that you hold yourself and the way you carry yourself, and the way you interact with other people, you are creating something. Even more importantly than if you create a piece of art is just as important. But to me, energetically, you're running around creating things all the time. I can be nasty to somebody and I have created something. I have created pain, disappointment, probably projected onto them. So they're going, what did I do? And putting somebody in a place of where am I? What did I do? Am I wrong? And then they go in and start kind of attacking themselves and questioning themselves. I could create this whole ripple effect with somebody just by the way I treat them. On the opposite of that, I can create joy. I can create kindness. I can hold a door for somebody. I can make eye contact with somebody and change the way they feel, because if I just make eye contact and smile with somebody, they see seen. They're seen. And so many people in this world don't feel seen. You don't have to be able to paint or sing or dance or create machinery to be an artist of life. And it's just those moments, those little moments that we have when we connect with other people that are the most important thing. Because if we were all so conscious of how we treated each other and what we were creating in every moment, imagine the world we would live in instead of the one we do, which is the finger pointing world. So I go back to the concept of I've got your back. It's not just like we go on stage with each other and I know if I do something crazy, they'll have my back, which I love the video of it. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's been around for years. There's this video where it's kind of like a festival type situation. There's some band. It's, some Saturday in the park thing. So, and there's this guy who's clearly feeling himself in like spirit or whatever, alcohol. I don't know what it was. Whatever it was, he was having a good time. And he, by traditional means, couldn't dance, but he was just in his body, expressing his soul and having a great time. And I know whoever started taking the video was taking the video in a mocking sense. You could tell. It's just like, look at this loon. But the beauty happened the moment that somebody else came out of, and I'm getting chills talking about it, came out of, where everybody was standing in judgment, came down, got right next to the guy, and just went nuts. It was just like doing the same kind of dance and trying to mimic the guy, but he wasn't doing it making fun of him. He was doing it to say yes, and I'm coming with you. And that's the yes and. I don't even have to agree with you or how you're dancing it, but and I'm another human being. I'm coming and joining you. All right. So when that happened, it shifted the dichotomy of what was happening to a mutual shared human experience. The beauty of that video as well was shortly thereafter, hundreds of people came down. Like everybody, like there were 10, 5, 20, blah, 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 blah. And that's how play happens too, because we're often afraid to play till we see a couple other people doing it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to do that. We like to sit on the sideline for a little bit like a wallflower. And like, oh, wait, no, we'll say it's okay. Yeah. Till we have permission. That guy gave people permission. And actually, number 2 guy did. Not just number 1, because he could have sat out there until he just wore himself out. But number 2 guy who said, yes, what you're doing, I'm going to be there with you. Instead of being in judgment. Judgment keeps us out of the moment. It keeps us out of connection. And we've been taught our entire life to judge ourselves and to judge each other. From the very moment we started school, when you would get a grade, right? How well you did. I might not be good at math, but I was great at other things. I can't remember now because I got so many grades that, and I remember seeing my transcripts after I graduated high school. My mom gave me all my stuff. I thought I was a horrible student. I look back, I was a good student. Said I talked too much, but come on, nobody gets that. But we were told we're grading ourselves. We're graded against the neighbor kids, maybe our siblings. But we were always told there's this value system to you from very small. Or like, you're going to have to go to school to get a job one day. And that was told you as your value too. So that you could go out in the workforce. Not like, do your best. You might be an artist. You'll be fine. I tell my children, I said, I don't care what you do for a living as long as you like yourself. Because if you like yourself, you never hurt other people. If you like yourself, you don't hurt the Aina. If you like yourself, you tend to be in harmony with others. So that should be what we tell our kids. Man, like yourself, go. And whatever that takes. But our society is also set up to where there's so much judgment from ourselves and from others that it's really hard to stay out of that space. And actually, I'll do a game later, and I'll show you how this works. You guys all know that. But one of the things that I teach is in improv about how to stay in the moment, because it's really hard, even when you're in a show, to like stay in it. Because if somebody needs me, if you do something, I have to be right there. I can't be like, wow, the last thing I did, it wasn't very good. And I can't be in judgment of it. I just have to be right there because I have to have your back above all else. What if our government functioned that way? What if our corporations function that way? It's like we have each other's back above all else, above money, above reputation, above ego. When I get on stage, I often play like the most horrible possible creatures. I love to come in and, set things on fire and knock down doors and be combative and just like, blah. Because I get in trouble for that in the real world if I did it. Like, I'm kind of like get along in society. So I get to be these wonderful, expressive, monstery people. I'm not worried about looking good. I'm worried about being authentic and really expressing what I have, whatever emotion I have through character in play. It doesn't mean that because I do comedy, that I'm always happy or I don't struggle or I don't, have all the same things. I cried coming across the mountain yesterday with things going on in my life. Sobbed the whole way, did the ugly cry, just on the wheel. It was a great place to do it, by the way. Because part of being who you are and accessing who you are is also the shadow stuff. It's the things that come up. It's the injuries. It's the wounds. Those are the things that we're processing. That's what makes us interesting people. You didn't have any scars. Come on. You just got here. You're adorable. Everyone put my arm around you because they're coming for you. That's life, right? That's the way it is. And the other thing about having each other's back and working in an ensemble, and realize we're all working in an ensemble all the time. We talk about the divine play. This is our divine play. Only thing is, a lot of people think that somebody wrote it for you. You are writing this one. It is yours. So I think a lot of people don't take the power. Am I doing this right? Okay. Or don't understand that it's okay for you to write this story, for you to write this play. You're the center character. Do I need to be a little closer? We got it? Okay. I can tell I don't work with microphones very often. But that we're the pivotal character. That you get to decide how you move in the world. Things will always affect us. Other things will come in, and that's the difference in the improviser's mind is when the other things come in that I didn't expect, I'm like, okay, I have to be more creative than the situation that was presented to me. Instead of being a victim, I'm like, okay, let me put my creative shoes on because I'm going to have to dance. There's something I'm going to have to do different. And I also believe that when things happen, even like the pandemic, or like when I address businesses, when things go off the rails with the business model or whatever, it's all process improvement. It happened for a reason. You can't deny that it happened. So now what do we do with that? How do we function within what has happened? Because we can melt down and point fingers and have a miserable time because something happened we didn't like, we didn't want, that was horrible, which it was and still is. Or we can find a way to encompass it and roll with it and take everything that we have and go into the flow with it. Because what we resist persists anyway, right? That if I'm just like, I could have melted down the whole time about losing my business in my home. I'm like, and not that it was comfortable. I'm like, it was great. I had a wonderful time. That's not true. It was difficult. But I kept going back to my tool of how can I be more creative than this? And what does the universe want from me now then? If it's not to do what I've always done, maybe I don't run a theater anymore. Maybe that's not what I'm supposed to do. Theater was gone. We didn't know if it was ever going to come back. So now what? And that puts me in a different place, a different mindset of co-creation, because I'm co-creating with the world, not just with other people. So when I'm on stage, I'm co-creating with my friends, but I'm also co-creating with the universe. What have you got for me? With an audience member comes and gives me a suggestion, that's coming from our consciousness, from our collective consciousness. Right down to the point that certain places in this country, when I perform, I'll get the same suggestions a lot. And I mean weird stuff. Like in Chicago, I'll be like, I need a suggestion, anything. Somebody's going to say spatula. I have no idea why up in Chicago people like spatula, ball. Those are the two things all the time. I was like, okay. And I'll go, it's going to be spatula or ball. Somebody like, spatula. I'm like, okay. There's a common collective consciousness that we come from. And that's what's being affected now. And that's what we can affect and be affected by if we're open to it, if we let go of that sense of control. We're not in control anyway. We like to think we are. And people are like, well, we were kind of control before COVID. No, we weren't. We may have thought we were, but any moment you can get that one phone call that changes your life. Any moment something can happen that can derail everything. And so preparing for those, which is what most of us try and do, which makes us get, a little bit more in the neurotic kind of planning tight stage, is to be like, I'll be fine when it happens. We've gotten this far, y'all. We're all still here. We've gotten this far. And the thing about improv is that we don't see things as failure. There is no failure in our world, or we call it the failure factory, because there is no wisdom without failure. Anything you are good at, you only got there because you did it really poorly a bunch of times. Right? Like, to be like, we, especially as we get adults, kids will just go do anything. They don't care. I've got a 1-year-old grandson that'll just haul towards stairs. And I'm like, this isn't going to go well. And not only, then he's like, he went up and down the stairs and he's like, gets this giant stick. And he's like, now he has to do the stairs with a stick. Still not a good idea. I'm like, have at it, man. You're going to figure it out that having something in your hand isn't a good idea. Don't lose an eye. Failure is inherent to who we are. If we don't allow that, we don't, like every painter, everything that's ever done, most of the products we have, including penicillin, came from a mistake. What a great improviser's mind when he goes, oh, this got mold all over it. Wait a minute. I wonder what I could use this for. And how many millions of lives did that little mistake save? Right? I think it was Steve Jobs was tinkering around with stuff in his parents' garage for a long time, and they were like, we're worried about that one. He's never going to leave home. He's there playing with blah, 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 and change the world. What seemed like maybe a mistake was not. Every one of you here is an adult. You know that there were things that you wanted, a person you wanted to be with, a job you wanted, a place you wanted to live, something that didn't happen. It was a failure. For some reason, it didn't happen. And at the time you were crushed, you beat yourself up or you blamed other people. And later on, you're like, thank God that didn't happen. Oh my God, where would I be if I had married that person, moved to that place, taken that job? Something else happened because there was a space available for it, because the thing that you thought you wanted or needed, the universe was like, no, you don't. Trust me. Stop crying. It's okay. And then you're taken to another thing. So in our mindset, if we're taken to another thing, we go full in to that other thing. And that's what happens in an improv scene. It'll be like, even if I set up a game and go, this is how the game is played, something will happen that it will not go that way because we're human beings. Then we follow the not right way with everything we have, because that is the way, maybe not that we set it up to be, but the way spirit took it, the way our humanity took it. So we follow that path because that's what's happening. Which is really hard it's way easier in Hawaii to explain this to people, but in other places it's very difficult to go, well, if that's what's happened, that's the path you follow, but like, wouldn't you know it? Because that's what happened. It's right there. It's presenting itself to you. You have to step off the path that you first started when you went on the jungle, and see this path all cut out for you, but the fruit's over there. Or this is where things started moving you. Then you're going through that jungle. You got to hack your way through the new place. Another easy rule for me to say is like, follow the fun. If we set up things to go this way, but this is having more fun this way, go that way. Why would you not? We will stop ourselves from having fun so often. And remember when you were a kid, and now we've all, been like, you can look at your own kids and go, I was cool. I know you don't think that, but at one point I was cool. But then we became the moderators of don't fall down, don't get hurt, we started making not only rules for ourselves, we started making rules for everybody else. And then just like society grew up and started making rules for all of us. We're a time in history where we're fighting who gets to make up the rules for us, right? It's a very exciting time in history. Yes, it's divisiveness, but at the same time, that's when you can't create something new unless you pull apart the old. Again, that's that place of chaos. What I call the space in the center. The space in between is where everything happens. It's not left or right or wrong or right. It's not up or down. It's that space in the middle. It's between the lava and the water. When the lava goes in and meets the water, that when it starts bubbling and boiling, and the bubbles are in the water, so the water is being affected by the lava, and the lava is being affected by the water, and there's that place of energy that's happening there. That's where miracles happen. That's where life happens. That's where magic happens. And we often forget that we can be in that space and we can live in that space very comfortably and allow ourselves to just be in an act of creation all the time. And it's easy to get derailed, or I wouldn't have cried all the way across the mountain because I got caught up in somebody else's stuff. And I hurt for them. We're still human. But at the same time, I know how to get back to it. It's like, okay, where's this space in between for me? Which is a very shamanistic place too, that place between darkness and light, between this world and others. That kind of veil, void, amazing place. But we can be in this world and still be in that space, which is so magical. So even though what I started out teaching or learning as improv was how to let go of my fears, because I had horrible, horrible stage fright. That's why I took it in the first place. I was a corporate trainer that would shake. And I took it, I was like, oh, these are my people. You know, when you can be around a bunch of people and you can fail, and they're like, yes. And then they come with you. Like, how great is that? There's no expectation of perfection or anything other than who I was at the time. And every step of my life, since I started that in my early 20s, and I have improvised and been around other improvisers, every part of me, everything I've ever been has always been accepted, validated, and built upon. So having a community that functions that way is beautiful. And the great thing about having that social contract of building on each other's ideas and having each other's back is I don't have to live any of your lives to have access to your wisdom. How gorgeous is that? If I let you be you and I listen to you, I have your wisdom at my disposal. And you have mine. You don't want to go through what I went through, but I will gladly give you my wisdom that I got. You know? How gorgeous is that? Which is why also diversity and inclusion is so important in improvisation. Is that everybody gets to say something. Everybody gets a voice. Everybody gets to play. Nobody's ruled out for any reason. Again, you're not too young. You're not too old. You're not too anything. You are so valued. And that's our system. That's our social contract, is that everybody has inherent and beautiful value. And we love to build on each other's ideas. That's that yes and as well. Somebody comes out and says something like, all right, I will not deny what just happened or what you just said. I'm not going to make that wrong. I'm going to make it work. It is my job to make whatever comes to me work, which is cool because that also gives me a chance to create. Like, well, do something really cool, make it come to me so it's really easy. That's not how it works. It's not how life works anyway. I'm just going to just bring things ever to you easy. Well, if so, just be like, yay. But usually it's on us to make it work, whatever it is. We've done it with jobs. You've done it with income. You've done it with everything. You guys have already done it. Everybody has to, or they wouldn't still be here if we weren't adaptive. But then to do it joyfully, like, I get to be creative. If this is true, then what? I've done this stuck on the side of the road in a hot city all by myself. My car broke down, and I'm like, well, I get to be creative now. No idea how I'm going to pay for this car. No idea how I'm going to get home. Walked across the street, got in the shade, started making phone calls. And actually, by the time a tow truck showed up, and I talked to him, he goes, and I got in the car with him. He goes, you are in the best mood of anybody I've ever picked up. Ever. Like, you are a joy to have in my truck. I said, there's nothing I can do about this. There's nothing I can do. How are you doing? You know, and started talking to him. We had such a good conversation because this is the first time like I practiced it so hard. I was just like, how can this work now? You know, I'm like, you practice it. So I practiced it and it felt great. And I had such a lovely time with the guy in the truck that he gave me my tow for free. Because I was being in the moment, I was being vulnerable, and I was just being, you know. And here, you know, there's people you know and breathe aloha, and there's so much of that here. Mainland, there's not a lot of that, so I seem completely out of touch. People are like, but you all know what I'm talking to and talking about. That's what that is. Is that moment, being grateful for the moment you're in, breath of life with people. The breath of life, breath is creation again. It's in that place between inhale and exhale, right? It's that breath of life. It's the same thing. It's the same magic. It's the same medicine that we are all a part of. And so when I do it, it may be because we make people laugh. And the only reason we make people laugh is because human beings are funny. We are inherently flawed, crazy. If somebody followed you around with a camera, you know you're crazy. You know the things you do. You're like, ooh, this is neurotic, but I'm still going to do it. And of course, if you don't know about it, I worked on a reality TV show. I mean, everything's fake. I mean, like we wrote it all. But if you don't know, if you're your own reality TV show, people would be dying just because we are so beautiful. We are so beautifully neurotic. Why we do some of the things that we do the way we do. Like I watch my grandchildren go, and why am I doing it that way? I'm like, I don't have 56 years to explain to you why we're going to do it that way. We just are. It's like when you get in your own house, you be neurotic your way. This is mine. We're delightful. The human spirit, when it is challenged, is the best anyway. And we are built for compassion. And don't mean just compassion of like feeling good for somebody or bad for somebody. I mean compassion in, for instance, a ball game or something that you're really invested in, the Olympics, whatever it is, and you see people do well, right? Don't you like jump out of the chair? You're like, yes. Or I love the video that I've seen a million times, which is when this dog got caught in an ice hole, and this whole like group of people like linked, like body to body to body, laying down on the ice, and they pulled the dog out and they rescue the dog. I'm still getting like all choked up about it. I'm like, oh my god, humans are could be so beautiful, but you feel it. Like I'm feeling it. Just talking about, I'm feeling it in every on a cellular level. We feel the beauty and accomplishment of other human beings. That video is 10 years old. I'm not even looking, I'm talking about it, and I can feel it in my bones. Same things we hear about somebody suffering or things that are happening in other places, we can feel it in our bones because we are wired together. Just like the mycelium network underneath trees, an organ is the biggest creature on the earth. It's this mycelium network, and they communicate just like the trees communicate that we found out, which all of us spiritualists knew this a long time ago, especially shaman. That's how we knew not to eat those berries. I used to worry that when I was a kid. I used to think, it's like, how did they know not what to eat, what not to eat? Was there just one guy? They're like, nobody likes Chet. Send him out there on the eating quest, But as I studied indigenous cultures and ancient cultures, they talked to the plants, and we listened, and the plants talked back to us, and they told us things. And we've lost that. We've lost that connection to Earth, as we all know, but also the real connection we have to each other like that. When I talk about feeling it, and my job as a performer is not to make you laugh, but it's to make you feel what I'm feeling. So if I do even a very serious like shadow work scene, I call them shadow work scenes, but where I'm digging in some deep stuff, some vulnerable, being very vulnerable or feeling I don't have any control or any of that stuff, people are going to laugh because they understand it. Part of the healing work of what I do is I have exposed some of my most difficult aspects of myself or things that I've gone through in a scene, which I'm kind of protected by being a character, or because people think I'm being a character, I'm really just being me. And then people laugh or clap, and I'm seen. My pain is seen because they see the same thing. They felt the same thing. I could do something about like being disappointed by someone. Maybe that's in the scene, as I got disappointed by somebody who promised that they'd be there for me forever. Promised they would have my back or something like that. We've all been there. We've all been disappointed by somebody we loved and trusted. And I could do a scene about that. And I'm going to have, and of course, I'm probably going to be the victor on that. I'm going to say something that person didn't say at the time. So they're going to be like, yes, I wish I had told them that, but because we can feel it with each other. As a performer, I don't care if I make you, honestly, if I make you laugh or cry, as long as I have you feel what I'm feeling. And I can't do that unless I'm being vulnerable and I'm willing to show you and feel in front of you. And what have we been taught? By a deodorant commercial. Never let them see you sweat. How deep is that? How much that commercial ingrained in our society to be stone-faced and stoic. I'm sure there are other things that taught us that. I'm blaming the commercial. just because it also shows how little things can be invasive into our collective consciousness as well. We've been taught not to let people see when they hurt us. But if we could be vulnerable and say, hey, the way you said that really hurt me, they would probably change their behavior. But we have relationships go on and on forever where people keep getting this, suffering the same wounds and keep doing the same thing because we don't say, you know what, I'm too sensitive for that. Because we're afraid to say we're sensitive, because if you're sensitive, you're vulnerable and you're weak. I'm incredibly sensitive. Not that I'm so worried about what other people think of me, but the energy of somebody being unkind hurts me. If I see it to other people, myself, a plant, if you cut down a tree, I'm probably going to cry. I'm a highly sensitive person. It upsets me. But I went my whole life being tough. I think I became a comedian because that's how I protected myself for a long time. I was that middle child. So I'm like, ha, 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 ha. You know, oh, we all just got abused. Let me tell a joke. You know, that was my coping skill. But now I realize that it's also a way that I've learned to be in the world, that I can still do comedy, but I had to unlearn using comedy as a way to protect myself from being close to people and being vulnerable. Because then I really didn't have connection. I was just doing a show. I'm not a performer anymore. I'm a player. And the difference is I want to play with other people, not perform for you to like me, which is the difference. I really needed to be liked younger. I really needed to be on stage like, love me, you know. Now it's kind of switch, and it's how I teach my performers now. It's like, your job is to take care of the other people who came here because they have crap going on in their life. For an hour and a half while we do a show, they forget about it. And we teach them how to play by watching us. And they're like, look at these adults throwing each other around and acting goofy and not caring if they look good or say stupid things or whatever. Look at this. And people delight because we're playing. It's so simple. And it's the only thing that you can play, the only thing where you're going to see people playing together and working like that together, and there's no money involved. Like professional sports, they're playing together. They rehearse and they play together. There's so much money involved. And they have to play a certain level to stay where they are. You know what I mean? There's so much status and judgment still in that. But when we play, we're just playing for fun. That's crazy. Unless it's like board game night. And even board game night you can't do without that one person who's just like, gotta win. It also brings me to the topic of back to judgment. It's like, have to win. Why would you have to win? Because you don't, you're a loser. One thing I've learned about staying in the moment is if we're judging ourselves or others, we're out of the moment. And the weird thing about judging yourself is this: nobody cares. Nobody is judging you but you. Nobody cares what you're doing or what you're wearing, or, you know, like me with age, I'm starting to melt. Like everything's just going down. But people don't value me based on that. I have friends that are every shape, size, color, everything in the world, and I do not care about what they look like or that they're aging or they're having a bad day. I care about how they affect me. I care about how they treat me. I care about the energy I have when they're in my presence, and I don't care what you're going through or what you look like or whatever. If you have that kind, compassionate energy, I want you in my life. I want that connection with you. We forget that's what we offer, again, in our being creative people, to other people. If I'm creating connection with you and love and joy or whatever I can, or even like having my bad days, I'm like, I can't be social today. Huh. You know, I just go, there's days I can't. That's okay. The only people that care about you, let's put it this way, the people that care about you care about how you are doing. They don't care about what you are doing. So if you want to go off right now and join a convent, or you want to start a motorcycle club, or you do some crazy dream, and somebody says anything about it, they really don't care. The best thing I ever learned was that I'm not that important. It was so freeing for me. If I'm like, I'm just not that, no, because somehow we think like everybody's walking around judging us all the time. Nobody's running around judging us all the time. They just aren't. You know who they're judging? They're so busy. Everybody's so busy being narcissistically judging themselves, what everybody's going to think of them. They're so busy. Like, and we think like the littlest thing is about us. Like somebody can walk by and kind of, you know, give you that look. And I could sit there and go, oh my gosh, they don't like me, or they think I look, and they might be like, man, I hope they know, where's the bathroom? I gotta go. I just assume anybody who gives me a bad look has to poo. That's just where I start from. And it just removes any sense of me worrying about what they think. And then I go back to, yeah, do they pay my bills? No. Okay, I do. All right, I'm good. You know? But most people are judging themselves. When you first meet somebody, and this is why I think a lot of us are bad with names. I don't know if you guys are really good with names. I'm horrible because I am feeling somebody out. I'm feeling their energy. I'm all about this. I'm all in here. You know, it starts especially for us women. I can't speak for men because I'm not one in this lifetime. We are prey in this world. So we are immediately like, we have this thing where we're sensing what's going on around us, you know? So that's what I'm busy doing. I'm not trying to learn your name, but it's going to take me a little bit because first I'm like, are you safe? That's the world I live in. Are you safe? Are you kind? You know, do I have to prove myself to you? Can I just be me with you? There's all this stuff going on. And I say energetically, we're sniffing each other's butts all the time when we first meet people. That's what's happening. That's what we're doing. We're like, are you okay? We're like, you cool? Okay. Yeah, you okay? You okay? Yeah, you cool? Okay, cool. You know, and then we start forming a relationship. You know, it really comes down to it. When you meet somebody, they're usually judging themselves in a mirror to you as, am I, as whatever their value system is. Am I smartest this person, prettiest this person, richer, respected, or blah, 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 blah. It usually isn't even about you. So when somebody's even judging you, it's not about you. It's about their value system and where they place in connection to you in their mind, which again is their made up story, has nothing to do with you. Because guess what? We get to make up our own stories. We just have made up some that are probably not as healthy as we could. And that's part of that journey. When I talk about shadow work and comedy and everything else, is when we get up on stage and we do scenes, we're telling a story. Each scene is some sort of a story. But the stories that we made up when we were kids, because you know, kids just make up stuff. Like if you go, okay, mommy and daddy are getting divorced. We don't like each other anymore. This has nothing to do with you guys. Nothing. The kids can be like, if I had done my math homework, they wouldn't be getting divorced. Doesn't matter what you tell them, right? All done that. If you go back and talk to your child self, you made up a lot of stuff that is not necessarily true. And then we carry that around the rest of our lifetime. Mine was tasks. If I do tasks and I do things for people, I won't get hurt. Because that's how I survived at home. Stay busy, right? So if I'm a long time after, I had to go, why do I think that nobody will like me unless I do tasks for them? Or I don't have value to myself if I'm not doing tasks, if I'm not busy all the time. For me to just sit down and look at a sunset was pure pain for me because I wasn't valuable if I wasn't in action. And it took a long time to decipher that one and pull that old story out of there and burn that to the ground. Because all of us are valuable just because we're here. You, as you are right now, are exactly where you're supposed to be, exactly how you're supposed to be, because this is where you are, and the universe does that. If I was supposed to be somewhere else, being somewhere else, doing something else at a different level, I'd be there. Because there's a lot of things, Spirit will take care of that for you. It'll get you where you need to go. You know those doors were shut when you thought you were going this way and you went this way. You're going to go where you need to go. The best thing to remember is this. There's no other person just like you, raised in the same home, had the same experiences just like you with a better credit score. They don't exist. There's no just you doing a better job. You know, if I saw somebody exactly like me, like my doppelganger showed up and was like, you should see my bank account. You know, it's amazing. And by the way, I'm not aging. I'd be like, maybe I could feel a little bit wrong. I'd be like, oh, well, I took the route that I took. This is the route you were supposed to take. This is the choices, the stories, the story of your life. This is your journey. Nobody's ever going to live it again. How cool is that? Like in the reading, like this day, this 24 hours, which adds to the next. You all know, like later on, you look back and I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing this 26 years. Holy crap. You look back and all this has happened, but it's one moment, one breath at a time. One moment, one breath at a time, we get to create our story. But we forget, we get so caught up, again, not being in the moment, thinking about the future, what we're going to do, thinking about the past, what has happened already to us, and old hurts, nursing those like trophies, instead of being in the moment, which is where I am, and I only have this moment. And later on, you look back and said, "Look at all these crazy, great moments I've had. Look at these adventures. Look at all these people I had in my life that I could love, and even the ones that I lost. Oh, what a great option I had to love them while they were here, right? But it's that moment staying, and I always see like this circle. And so that's why I'm moving around in it. Is I see this circle of being present, and I do this in my head a lot. This is judgment of self, judgment of others. This is thinking about the future, and this is me thinking about the past. All of those take me out of the moment, and that is right here, right now with you guys. And I'm so blessed to be here, and I'm so grateful. And I thought I was going to do a game, but I guess I just went on. So this is where we are. And are we at time? You guys want to do an improv game? Can we do one in 5 minutes? Look, yeah, you're like, okay. All right. Give me a 30 seconds to think of something because I'm debating whether I want to. Yeah, I guess I would have people come up here. How about this? This is real quick. Could I have like 4 or 5 people up here? This is so easy. I teach this to children and lawyers. So anybody can do this game. I promise you they're the worst. They're the tough. Sorry, lawyers. You're not the worst, but you're very tough on improvising. It's very hard for people to have a very linear mind to improvise. Thanks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Let's make sure you guys can be seen here. Okay. So this will be fun. I don't know if I need to stay in here. I'll get next to you guys. Thank you. What's your name?
Bodie.
Bodie? Jean? Your name? Good. I forgot. And Stephen? Everything we do is right here. Right? There's no failure. All right. This is called the oracle. And in the oracle, all of these people are now one mind, body, spirit. You are one being. Okay? And you know everything. I know you thought that before you came today, but now it's for reals. Okay? So they know everything. You all have hiked up the mountain with your Cliff Bars and your man buns, and you have these big questions for the oracle, and the oracle is going to answer. Okay? So think of your question. Now, the way you're going to do this, because you seem to be 4 different people, how you become one is you're going to answer only one word at a time. Okay? So if I said, why is the sky blue? It could look something like this, like, the sky is blue because people see moisture as color, period. Or you could say in that point, therefore, the sky looks blue, period. Okay? So if it becomes, the only thing is you don't have to try and be funny. Just try and make a good sentence. You don't even have to be right. They said, the sky is blue because peas fly, period. I'm like, yes, they do. That's it. Okay? So there's no right or wrong in the answer, just that you make a good sentence is the only thing that you're going to try and do here. Okay? So now I'm going to come back to my seekers. What is your question for the oracle? Yes, I will. Absolutely. So what is the what's your question, guys? Okay, what's the question?
What's the meaning of life?
Well, she's going deep right away. Okay. So we're going to start and here, let me start this way. It might be easier. Okay, we're going to start and pass it down this way. So you do the first and then pass the word with the mic, okay? So, what is the meaning of life? One word at a time, okay?
2,
Be forever.
Joyous.
And it goes back around.
and
Love.
Whoever.
You find.
comma,
Amazingly.
Never.
Sad.
but
Okay.
When.
Life.
gives
You.
Oysters.
and whatever you want, period.
Okay, fabulous. All right, thank you. Wait, I was going to show you guys something. There's a bunch of stuff I have in here. You guys laughed. Why? Do you know why? Fun, because oysters was unexpected. Here's the thing: we're so used to things being in our mind, we want to complete the sentence for them, didn't you? When they paused or whatever, you had a word, and you're like, ah, but then you realize that their word was good too. That's the thing about this game is you realize that anything that anybody contributes is also going to work. And we just build on that. And when we think about it in life is that everything that other people contribute is also good. We learn to radically accept other people and build on what they say instead of doing this, which is what happens a lot. This is what the world taught us. Is he says something like oysters. Let's say I didn't expect oysters. And he said it. If I don't go do this. Because what did I just do? I made him wrong. Will he trust me and want to ever create with me again? I belittled him with a look. And we do it all the time. But that's one thing I love about this. Also to know that in this game, nobody had to do much. We weren't all responsible for the answer. You just had to do your little part. And that's who we are in the world. We just do our little part, our little gift, our little nugget of energy gift that we give any moment. And that's how we create something beautiful like they did. And it was amusing for no reason other than sometimes we're surprised by it. Isn't that crazy? You guys did a wonderful job. Please give them a round of applause or fingers or whatever you feel comfortable doing. Thank you. Take a bow. I usually do a lot more, but this is the end of our time. So should I turn this back over to you? And mahalo, thank you all so much for having me.
Thank you,
Right
Kelly.
back here. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, I know everybody. Oh, am I on? Everybody really loved it, and thank you so much. And it's like was more meaningful and spiritual than the deepest spiritual philosophy that somebody might come up here and go on and on. It was really good. Thank you. I'm going to put this down and be right back. Now's a chance in the service when we all have a chance to give back, to contribute to the sport of New Thought support. Did I say sport? Anyways, we have a beautiful coal bowl. To receive your offerings, you can come up one at a time, or I'll pass it around the circle. And if you're watching the live stream at home, you can visit the New Thought website, and there you'll find directions on ways to donate when you're not physically present here on the lanai. And I guess if it's your home, you're not here. So I'm going to pass the bowl. This is a special opportunity to donate because Shana Gregory has committed to match all the donations put into the coal bowl. I think you can keep playing if you want. From November 6th through today, the 20th, up to $1,000 limit. So far, we've raised $738. This is the last week, so let's make sure she can donate the full $1,000. Once again, donations can also be made through the New Thought website. Will also be matched. So open those piggy banks, find the loose coins under the sofa cushions. Be generous as you can, because your donations will go twice as far. And we'll announce the results at the New Thought Thanksgiving potluck on November 24th. Donations are fully tax deductible, and official acknowledgments with the New Thought tax ID number will be provided upon request.
samasta sukino bhavantu lokaha samasta sukino bhavantu lokaha samasta sukino bhavantu lokaha samasta sukino.
We're short on time, and so I think I better keep doing the announcements. Thank you so much. Coming up at New Thought Center of Hawaii, the Sunday service, of course, at 10 a.m. Here on the line and by live stream, check the website for the YouTube link. We have free childcare here. If you make reservations by the previous Friday, please. On the next 3 Sundays, we have Dr. Maria Mann first, speaking on Children of the Rainbow, Art Waves, and the Ripple Effect, and a Peace Flag Blessing. And music will be by Mahina and Christina. On December 4th, it's Trim the Tree and Deck the Lanai Holiday Decorating Party. Light lunch will be provided by New Thought afterwards. It's fun. You get to decorate Christmas stuff. On 12/11, Gisela Heatherton, Search for My Home is her topic. My Soul's Journey, and music by Joe Conti. Joe Conti is always incredible to listen to. We have a weekly class of Tai Chi from 4:30 to 5:30 with Jen Ann Wong. He teaches Tai Chi and Qigong at all levels. The donation is $15 per session or $50, or is it 40? 48 per month. On the last Sunday of the month, we have a produce giveaway right after the service. The next one's November 27th, next week. Second Sunday of the month, pre-service healing meditation with crystal bowls starts at 8:30 to 9 in the Hanua room, which is right here. The next time it'll be December 11th. A special event coming up, Interfaith Thanksgiving musical concert at 6 p.m. at the Lutheran Church at the end of Laco Street. It's really great. There's just so much incredible music and singing to listen to from all the different spiritual groups and island groups. It's worth going, and to attend, you just need to bring some canned goods or a canned good. Then on I don't know what I did with the special announcement for the Haliki Market. From 9 to 12, we're looking for a volunteer just to help out at the New Thought booth. It is Haliki Streets, just the first signal light this way, and there's a Saturday market down the street. Maybe I can find the paper. There'll be more on that later. All right, and the December 3rd. And on Saturday on the 10th, there's a meditation class with Mira Ojala from 10 to 12:30. And on the 24th on December, there's our Christmas Eve candlelighting service and Hanukkah at 6 p.m. You find good time. Are there any other announcements? And would you like to announce anything about upcoming workshops or?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, if anybody's interested, they can always get a hold of me at Improv Keli, which is improv, IMPROV, KELI at Yahoo. and or CharlotteComedyTheater.com, BigIslandComedyTheater.com, Hail Me Down, whatever, Smoke Signals all work for me. And I am teaching classes on the Hilo side, and I will be doing, just keep an eye on the site here, because I hope to be doing some improv workshops and here after the new year. So I'd be delighted to come back over here and do some stuff, and we'll have some fun and do really into it and do a lot of games. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you'll get some people to sign up on the list. I will. As the Halakee market on the Saturday, she just wanted 3 volunteers, and she already has 2. So if there's just one person might be interested in being there part of the time to help her sell the jewelry and other collectibles and other announcements.
I need to take care of lunch first, and then I'll share the requests.
Do you have time to be taken out to lunch today? No?
Thank you so much.
Okay. So she's very busy and doesn't have time usually. Sometimes we take the speaker out for lunch, but she can't make it today.
So did I somehow miss the Thanksgiving dinner announcement?
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Let's say it again.
I don't think we said it.
No, we
Okay,
didn't.
well, if you see that turkey after service, look for the turkey. And where the turkey is, there's the sign up sheet for the potluck. So if you're able, and there are also little handouts with autumn leaves, you can take one for yourself or to give to someone else. So it's going to be right here on Thursday, and everyone's invited. And there's a few things that seem sort of essential for Thanksgiving. The turkey is covered by New Thought, but then other things that we might miss if nobody brought them, like cranberry, mashed potatoes, sort of traditional kind of things, they're already on there. So sign, if you want to bring one of those, put your name on that line. But if you want to bring something different, there's lots of other lines. So, and if you know you're coming, but you don't know what you're bringing yet, that's okay too. So anyway, it's starts, the event starts at 4, and then we're hoping to actually begin eating at 4:30. If you took one of the handouts last week, the time had to be adjusted a little bit because we have a AA group that meets later on the lanai. So we wanted to not have the two be too close together. But if any of them show up, we'll just give them pumpkin pie. And the other announcements, I got 2 requests, one while the service was happening today for rides. There's one person who needs a ride to Thanksgiving dinner. She wants to be here but doesn't have a car. And she lives kind of up the road above Choice Mart. So if there's anyone that, you know, kind of lives in that area that could provide transportation for an older lady, longtime member of New Thought, talk to me after service. I'll put you in touch with her. And then the other announcement, raise your hand if you know Manuel and Bernice Roberto. Okay, well, although they've moved to Florida, they've actually been here on the island for, I think, at least 6 weeks. And today they're supposed to fly back to the mainland. And the person who said she would take them to the airport is not feeling so great and is requesting someone else to do the airport run. Oh, Candy, thank you. Okay, well, that'll give everybody peace of mind. Okay, I think that's it.
There's some magical blue tea I made, so feel free to drink some back there.
Thanks, Darby. Okay, last announcement. If you want to be on the mailing list, there's a sign up over here on the table. So we're ready for our closing song. If you like this, stand up and join hands if you're not afraid to touch.
Playing. I'm like, do I need to take your hand? All right, okay, here we go.
See, the more that join together, the easier
Oh,
it
there we
gets.
go. Yes, now with everything.
1, 2, 3. Hawaii e ku one hanae. Ku home kula ibine. Oli no a ina pono lanio. E Hawaii aloha e haoli na o pio o Hawaii ne oli Maina ahe makani anaine. Mauke